Mitch McConnell says he'll block any appointments to the Supreme Court to fill Scalia's seat by President Obama, saying that it's that he should wait until the election's over, and that his successor should appoint a replace that his successor should appoint someone to fill Scalia's seat. I feel like saying, what if Bernie Sanders is the next president? I just got to say that to McConnell. How do you think he'll react if Bernie Sanders is the next president? And then two, Republicans are saying that Obama should appoint a conservative. And see, again, this is the problem with future appointments to the Supreme Court, or like when there's an opening on the Supreme Court, is people feel that it belongs to the party of whoever had that seat, who appointed that the judge to that seat before, or like the race or the sex of that that person who held that seat before. I mean, would Clarence Thomas be on would Clarence Thomas be on the Supreme Court if Thurgood Marshall was white? Would George W. Bush have appointed or attempted to appoint Harriet Miers to the Supreme Court if the seat that Sandra Day O'Connor had was held by a man? No. And it's just, that seat doesn't belong to a conservative like Jeb Bush thinks, because Jeb Bush said, President Obama has every right to appoint a judge to the Supreme Court as long as that judge should be a conservative because Scalia was a conservative. And it's like, no, that seat doesn't belong to a Republican. That seat doesn't belong to a conservative. That seat doesn't, that seat belongs to somebody who can do the job. And President Obama has every right to appoint a judge to that seat because he's the president, and there have been presidents that have appointed judges to the court in the last year of their term. I don't see where the Constitution says that that the seat that the president can't appoint someone to replace a judge on the Supreme Court because, hey, it's in the last year of their term. I mean, I really don't see where that says. And again, that seat does not belong to a conservative, does not belong to a Republican, does not belong to any party simply because it was a conservative that held that seat. And again, this really does say something about the do-nothing Congress. I mean, it's like Mitch McConnell said that his goal was to make, when Obama got elected to the presidency, to make Obama a one-term president. And, and he got, and that's the problem with Congress today, It really does kind of make me wish that, it's funny how people who served elected office in the 50s and 60s and 70s were kind of more concerned with, in the 80s, were more concerned about, serving Congress and being good public servants. I mean, like, it's like Watergate, you know, there wouldn't, you had Republicans and Democrats voting to remove President Nixon. Now, in this day and age, if the same thing happened, there's no way someone in their own party would vote to remove the president of their own party. But because it's like now Congress is so polarized. Back then, people who were elected officials actually cared about doing their job, about serving the public and serving it well, and it's like now that's not that way. So again, just kind of sad, isn't it? But again, this opening on the Supreme Court does not belong to a conservative, does not belong to somebody with a certain way of viewing. And again, President Obama does have every right to appoint somebody to replace Scalia, because the Constitution says he does. So again, shame on any Republican who says that, President Obama should wait. I mean, what if Bush v. Gore, something similar in the next presidential election happens? Then we would need a 9-person Supreme Court. It's just shame on anybody who says that. Shame on anybody who says that we should only have, that President Obama shouldn't appoint a replacement to the Supreme Court. I mean, again, is the Supreme Court just supposed to sit idle for a year? No. So again, shame on whoever says that the Supreme Court should remain idle for a year simply because, well, hey, you're in it's Obama's last year before he leaves office. I mean, again, it shouldn't be that way.